So in this video we are going to discuss a topic and technique called VBA Stomping. It is a technique of removing VBA source code from the file but still executing our desired VBA macro on opening. There is a drawback for this method. This method works only for the same VBA version of the document made and the document opened. So simply put, we need to make the document with the version of that matches the same version of the victim. Suppose if the victim is using Office 2007, you need to make the document with that Office 2007, or with the Office 2015 if the victim is using that version. So let's see about this technique. So in the previous video we have seen how to put a macro in the Word document and execute that macro upon enabling that macro. There are two types of storages in VBA project.bin. So you can extract the Word document using the 7-zip or WinRAR. First one is performance cache and second one is compressed source code. So compressed source code contains our macro in a compressed format, but we can still read this compressed source code. It's just some encoding and compression. We can still see this source code in the ASCII characters as well. But this performance cache is a compiled version of this source code. We cannot read this one. A copy of source code is stored in the performance cache, which is also called P code. So whenever you put the macro and save that file, a copy of that will be stored in this P code. And what is the advantage of this is we can use this one to execute our macro if the VBA version of the document made and the version of the Office that opened the document matches. So that means if the victim is using the Office 2016 and we have made a Word document with that 2015 version as well, so there is a compatibility, then our macro in the P code gets executed regardless of source code. So we have one copy of the source code, that is macro source code in the P code, and that code gets run regardless of source code. So even there is no macro source code, that version in the P code gets executed, and after execution of that macro, the content in the P code gets updated to the VBA source code. So what that means is whenever victim opens the Word document, whenever he presses Alt F11, he cannot see source code because we are going to delete that one. That is the technique called VBA stomping. Stomping in the sense deleting. So we will be deleting the source code, but still that source code will be available in the P code, and that gets run if the VBA version matches. And if the VBA version does not matches, normal source code gets decompressed and gets executed. This technique is also called VBA purging because we are purging the VBA source code. Awaits AV detection if AV solely depends upon the VBA source code. So many tools will read the file and decompress the VBA source code and checks that, but many tools does not check the P code. And there are some malware analysis tools tries to decompile P code and compares it to source code. It will also check the P code source pointing to any the P code and the VBA source code should be the same. Otherwise, some malware analysis tools will try to say that there is a VBA stomping, there is a mismatch between P code and our VBA source code. So one tip is don't try to avoid all antiviruses, just try to avoid your victim's AV. So victim can have only one AV, and try to identify that and try to avoid that. So that will be the best solution. So that's all about this theory part. Now let's go and create a Word document. Press Alt F11 and here you can see this document. Now let's go and create a message box. Private sub, document open, and let's say message box of ABCDEF. Now close this and save this one, save this to desktop. Let's say message box 2. So message box 2.datum. Let's close this one and let's open our message to box, and if the victim clicked on this enable content, we should see the message box. Sorry for that. And there you go. So we can see the message box ABCDEF. Okay, let's copy this one and go to our Kali Linux box. Now we can use some tools called OLD tools, so you can download that from GitHub. So you can go search for OLD tools and you can download the repository and compare them. OLD tools. So what I have done is I have installed the Remnux installation on my Ubuntu, so it's kind of messed up. So one tool is OLD VBA message box 2.m. So if you run this on the OLD VBA tool, here okay, why it's not deleting this message box 2, I don't know. We are getting some error, not supported file type. Okay, I have another message box.m I have created previously. So if you run this OLD VBA tool, you can see it has extracted the decompressor source code. You can see document open, message box AAA, and it also tells us some functions we have used. Auto exec, you can see document underscore open runs when the word or published document is open, and also we have some suspicious hex strings. So you can use the decode to see what are those strings. Here you can see all of those are capital S. Now what we are going to do is let's right click this one and use the 7-zip to extract this to message box 2 folder. Now let's extract this one, and here inside this Word folder you will have a file called VBA project.bin. Now we need to open this one in hex editor. You can use online hex edit to open this file. I have installed the hex editor HXD on my system, so this is very easy to use. So just throw this file in the editor, and here you can see the starting one is the P code. You cannot see, you can see but you cannot understand what that means. There is no documentation for this as well, and here you can see some ASCII characters, attributes. We will name this document. So you can see this document is the that we have seen in the macro editor. Now what you can see is, you can see sub open of message box ABCDEF. Now what we are going to do is we are going to test this one. So delete this delete this one. Instead of ABCD, what we are going to do is we are going to put ABB. Let's save this one as same VBA project.bin. Replace that one. So we have changed the original string ABCDEF to ABBF. Now we will have this back file. You can delete that back file as well. Now select all of these files, 7-zip one. Let's say temp.m. Now open this .m, and here you can, we got some problem. Okay, we did something wrong, so let's extract again. So what we can do is insert bytes here, number of bytes 1 2, or we can change this one. Let's change this one B to C and C to Z. So ACZZ. So save as VBA project.bin. Replace this one. And we can see press Ctrl F11, and now you can see ACZEF. Let's open this again. So we should get the message box for the ACZEF. Now if you enable content, what happens is the P code has already copied previously, that is pointing to ABCDEF. Now click on enable content, and here you can see ABCDEF, because this message box ABCDEF has been stored in the P code, and since our VBA version, that is our office version, the document made was matched, so that's why we got the previous code. Now what we can also do is we can completely remove this one. So what we can choose from sub to end. So this is our subroutine, right? Now what we can do is insert bytes here. So number of bytes I want to insert. Actually it's easy to do in the HXD. So choose from sub to the end. So that is our function. Now right click on this and fill section, and fill section with the null bytes. Now click on OK. Now we can see we have overwritten that subroutine with our null bytes. Now save as. Replace it. Yes. Now close this one. We can remove that back file. tempo.m. Now you can see, now if you press Ctrl F11, you can see there is no source code. You can see this is empty. So close again, open this again, and now I am going to enable content. Now you can see our macro still got executed. So that's how you can hide from the GUIs as well, from this graphical user interface. So we are going to copy this one and paste here. Let's run VBA on tempo.m, and here you can see some interesting. So there is some error because it's only the private keyword, and here you can see suspicious hex strings. So let's also decode, and here you can see I think it did not get correctly the hex strings, and also suspicious VBA stomping. So VBA stomping has detected the VBA source code and P code are different. This may have been used to hide malicious code. So it just assumes that this may have been used to hide malicious code, but it does not show the code as well. So another tool you can use is P code dump. So pcode dump is an excellent tool. It will dump the code in the pcode section. Now here you can see we got the function definition, document underscore open, and these are the arguments, message box, and ABCDEF. So it's always a good tool. This is the good tool to run the documents. Okay, now what we're going to do is let's run the MSF console. So far we have seen this in the message box. So let's go and create a macro that contains the reversal. Okay, now search for office macro. So we are going to use this one, 5, use 5, show options, and set teleport 1 2 3 4. So it's gonna create the file in the as msf.docum. Okay, let's run this one. So it is going to use some template. Let's go and copy to our desktop. Where is this msf data item? So copy this one. Let's also start the listener. And now let's run our listener. Okay, let's turn this virus protection. So let's open this one, and if you press Ctrl F11, there is actual VBA source code. So let's run this one, and here we can see we got the shell. Now what we're going to do is we are going to open this one in HXD, and same we are going to delete the source code of this macro. So the macro size is very large, so that's why we can see a lot of gibberish content. You can also search for ABC. I'm sorry, we need to extract this one, so sorry for that. So extract to MSF. So we going to open this one, so sorry for that, I confused a bit. So here you can see it should start with some attributes, something like that. So here you can see this is the source code attributes. You can see all of these functions. Here you can see there is a lot of code. What we can do is we can delete everything. So from attributes to, suppose say you are still understanding this as key text. So here you can see all of this ABCD string that is there in the macro source code. I think we can do it up to this one as well. So there should be some ending. I can't see that ending. Okay, let's fill up to now the null bytes and save this as now. Let's save this one 7-zip and now let's open this one. Okay, we have deleted so much of the content, so let's open this one again. Let's extract this. Okay, let's delete this one. Auto open. So let's save this one. Select all and let's make the Word document. Still we did not, we have deleted so much. So we can't delete this one, it's so much there is no ending for this. I can't find the end for this one. So okay, what we're gonna do is let's go and say VBA download script. So copy this one. So we are going to create another one. Now let's host our reversal. So I have already created this rev.exe. Now we need to host this one. So it will be hosted on 192.168.0.101 8000. Change the URL. rev.exe, and we are going to store this one in C Windows temp, and we are going to save this one as rev.exe and change the function name to document_open. And afterwards we gonna execute shell C Windows temp rev.exe. I think this should do fine. So save this one. Save this as rev.atom. Save this one. Now let's go and test this. Upon enabling the macro, we will get a request for this. We got the shell. So let's extract this one. So this identifying this one and deleting is very headache. So in the next video we will be using a tool that will automatically delete the contents as well for us. Here you can see the attributes. And see here you can see the end of our function. So let's go and fill them with null bytes. And now we can press Alt F11, and here you can see we got the error, could not open macro storage, because we have deleted all of the information in the VBA source code. So you can't see any of this VBA source code. So let's open this one again, and we should get the reversal if you enable the content, and we can see we still got our macro executed, that is in the P code. Now let's copy this one and paste here. Now we'll be running over a VBA, and here you can see we got only one suspicion, that is VBA Stomping. And if you go and extract the P code dump, we still get the source code. You can see this macro has been in the P code and got executed. Now let's go and upload this to VirusTotal. First let's upload the malicious one, that is msf.docum. And let's also upload our temp.datum. Here you can see there are so many engines detected our msf.docum. So we got 2 engines so far. So they are identifying using this downloader script. So here you can see 40 out of 60 engines detected our Metasploit. That is before stomping of the VBA source code, and after stomping you can see we got only 2/59. So if your victim is not using Kaspersky or this Volatility, I don't know this one, so you can see most of these got undetected, and you can expect some success upon enabling the macro. So that's all for this video about this VBA Stomping. In the next video we will be seeing a tool called Evil Creepy to automate this entire process.